MGX Minerals is revolutionizing the new energy economy with patented lithium extraction technology, replacing traditional solar evaporation using low-cost, low-energy nanofiltration. The first system of this paradigm shift technology is currently being commissioned. MGX Minerals trades on the CSE, symbol XMG, the OTCQB, symbol MGXMF, and Frankfurt, symbol 1MG. For more information, visit our website, mgxminerals.com.
Welcome to the Goddard Report. Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Jordan Bateman, Communications Director for the Independent Contractors and Business Association. Welcome back to the show, Jordan.
Thanks for having me, Jim.
Jordan, you're hearing good rumors about LNG in BC?
Yeah, we really are. It seems like it's all trending in the right direction. We have apparently Kitimat has a park set aside for Saturday, October the 6th, with fireworks already ordered, expecting a big celebration. We hear the announcement could come as soon as Monday, maybe more likely Wednesday, and then with a northern BC component on Friday. So, yeah, this could be, frankly, a pivotal, transformational week for British Columbia's economy.
What kind of good things do you think would happen if they do develop LNG in Kitimat?
Well, you know, it's hard to express just how big this project is. Like, you try to give people the idea of the scale of it. It's very difficult. So you're talking about, with the pipeline, a $40 billion, with a B, billion-dollar project. The entire spending of the provincial government a year is less than $50 billion. So, you know, when you start to think about it, it's like getting a whole bonus year of government stimulus, all from the private sector. None of it's coming through taxation. I mean, this is just going to make money for the province and for taxpayers. So, you know, this is the reason why Christy Clark, you know, ran that 2013 campaign and was, you know, so emphatic that LNG was a transformational opportunity. It's also why, you know, John Horgan, despite kind of poo-pooing that back then, and, you know, certainly fighting the Liberals on their taxation plan for LNG at the time, and ending up grudgingly going along with it, and then becoming premier and cutting those taxes, it's why he's, you know, in favor of it. You know, it is going to create boom towns in Kitimat. Prince Rupert's going to see positivity. Fort St. John, which is kind of the key hub for the natural gas industry. Every point in between where you have the pipeline running. I've heard about work camps that have been ordered from companies in Kamloops and in Penticton, and in, you know, there's just going to be outflow all through the province. It really is an exciting time for us as, you know, construction association. We're thrilled because, you know, $40 billion construction projects don't fall in your lap ever. You know, like, you know, this is 30 or so, 35 Patello bridges. This is, this is 4 or 5 Site C dams. I mean, this is an incredibly massive project on a scale we've never seen before, not just in BC, but in Canada as a whole.
Do we have the labor to do it?
Yeah, we do. We're ready. We're champing at the bit to go. Honestly, some of these pieces are built overseas. One of the big hurdles was a little-known group called the Canadian International Trade Organization that had slapped tariffs on specially made steel parts. There's no company in Canada that can handle the kind of scale of the special steel items they needed. That just got released this week. Federal cabinet announced that they were taking the tariffs off of that product. So that's I think I saw something like a $600 million savings for the company, which certainly continues to help it become more economically viable. So everything's pointing to the right direction. We're holding our breath. You know, been a few times where the rug's been pulled out from under us when we thought LNG was close, but we've never been this close. It certainly seems like the politicians and the business folks are getting ready for a big announcement.
Have they had all the environmental meetings and stuff, or does that wait after the announcement?
No, they have all their approvals in place. As far as we're concerned, they can go in the ground fairly quickly. They have strong support from First Nations. I do believe every single First Nation across the pipeline route has signed on to it. This is a project that should go forward. Now, that said, There's still the whack job U.S.-funded eco-activists who are opposing it. I was laughing about a piece in Business in Vancouver today where the Sierra Club's complaining about some of the funding that's flowing to northern towns for infrastructure to prepare for LNG. They're clearly out of touch and haven't gotten the memo that this project's going forward. There are still, rogue First Nations groups who may purport to represent larger groups of First Nations people. Certainly not elected groups. The elected groups have all endorsed this project. So there are still some challenges, but this is such a benefit to British Columbia, especially northern BC, that we should be running, not walking, to get this thing going.
Now, it's not LNG, but we heard a report last week from Stuart Muir and the Resource Works Society that they feel that light oil is possible from BC shale, medium oil as well, that they didn't anticipate. What would that mean for the independent contractors?
Oh, it would be huge. I mean, it opens up a whole new piece to the oil and gas industry in British Columbia. More royalties, more jobs building the wells, building the pipelines, those sorts of things. Although, when it comes to oil, I am incredibly skeptical that the NDP will ever let that oil see the light of day. The NDP are in a tough spot. They're in an incorrect spot on this, their supporters, but they already kind of cheesed off a few of their supporters when they decided to build Site C to continue that project. Now there's a big contingent within the NDP support network who don't support LNG. They're about to go whole hog into that. Would they actually be willing to and courageous enough to invest and get an oil industry started in northeastern British Columbia? I doubt it. I think that they would feel like they've pushed their green components a little too far. And the wild card in all this still is Andrew Weaver. He says that climate issues are his number one issue. If this is LNG does create emissions, I would argue that it actually is better for the environment because you're taking China or India or Japan or whoever buys this off dirty coal and putting them on cleaner LNG. But still, he will fight that and say BC is not living up to its Paris Climate Accord commitments. It'll be interesting to see how that all plays out within their little coalition.
Well, liquefied natural gas, much better than coal or diesel or gasoline, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It burns cleaner, certainly than coal, and certainly than the way the Asian countries do it. Listen, we have the most stringent environmental regulations in the world on this stuff. That old line that the world needs more Canada, you're darn right they do when it comes to energy.
Also, we just had a report that power consumption in British Columbia went up last year. Is that a vindication that Site C was the right thing to do? No,
absolutely. The only reason, the opponents of Site C cherry-picked stats when it came to energy conservation, using the year before the global recession as, kind of an example, and then saying, power consumption's fallen over the past 10 years. Well, there was a massive global recession, and when there's a recession, power consumption goes down. And in BC, it plunged in 08 and 09, and it's been steadily increasing ever since. And, every year since 2010, it's been gone up considerably. 2017, no different. It just, again, the anti-everything crowd will lie, and they use fake news and false facts and all those things we hate about arguments like this. They use all of those to try to get their point across. The truth is, power consumption is growing. We need more power in British Columbia. Certainly if LNG comes on stream, that's a big consumer of power because you have to chill this gas, from whatever temperature to one where it can be liquefied and shipped across the sea. So, we need that energy. Site C is going to prove out to be a very wise investment.
Plus, the BC government wants to continue incentives to buy electric cars. They'll need power, won't they?
Yeah, well, this is the hypocrisy in Andrew Weaver's position, right? In one breath, he wants us to give out more subsidies to people buying $60,000 Teslas. And then in the next, he says, but we don't need more electricity. That's where you just shake your head at kind of the hypocrisy of the green movement.
We'll have more with Jordan Bateman right after the break.
Hi, I'm Douglas Mason, President and CEO of Rainy Mountain Royalty Corp, RMO on the TSX Venture Exchange. Rainy Mountain Royalty Corp is a Canadian-based mineral exploration project generator. The company currently holds multiple property interests in Ontario with joint venture partners and is seeking further joint venture partners for other drill-ready properties in our portfolio. For more information, please visit our website at rmroyalty.com or call me at 604-922-2030.
Bateman Ventures Corp is a potash exploration company focused on the Korat Basin in Thailand, the world's largest undeveloped potash resource. Batek's management has extensive potash exploration and development experience in Thailand. Batek will have marketing advantage compared to Western producers. Drill program commences this spring. Batek trades on the TSX Venture, symbol BCV, and on Frankfurt, symbol V8V2. Visit our website, batekventures.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Jordan Bateman. Jordan, the BC legislature resumes next week. Is there anything in there that business would like to see or is concerned about?
We're worried about a few different things. There's a lot of talk about the speculation tax, which is not even a tax on speculation, but apparently those details are going to come down in this fall session. Cannabis, there's a bunch of legislation that will be changed to get ready for that going legal in mid-October. This isn't being handled perfectly by the province, but they've been given a real dog's breakfast of information from the Fed, so you can't really blame Mike Farnworth for this. This is an issue that the tentacles are still spreading. And then we're very concerned about something that probably won't get as much press as those issues, but the labor code review, the WorkSafe review are coming down. They've been overseen by a minister who is very much from the union side, spent 15 years, Harry Baines, as the Steelworkers local negotiator, executive member. This guy is part of that kind of steel cabal within the NDP. You'll recall the Steelworkers funded a dozen different campaign workers in the last election for the NDP. They're going to come down with, we believe, rules that skew very, very hard to that 1970s style union-only workplace. This will be something that every small business and certainly associations like ours will be keeping a close eye on. Will the NDP actually be fair, or are they just going to pander to their support base?
Will there be any legislation you hope that will help small business?
We've seen nothing in the agenda from the NDP that shows that they care one iota about small business. If anything, their tax increases continue to raise costs. They're adding more regulation, more red tape, which is choking, this kind of choking bureaucracy on small business. They have given nothing. They've articulated nothing that would make us think that there's something that's going to be helpful for small business coming. So, but if you run a small business, own a small business, buckle up your seatbelt. This is going to get really bad.
What kind of legislation would you like to see to help small business?
They got to lift some costs off of small business. I mean, all they've done is pile on more costs. $5.5 billion in new taxes collected last year. That's going to go up next year when the employer health care tax comes in. They seem completely tone deaf to the concerns of small business. The WorkSafe review is going to add more regulation. The labor code review is going to add more regulation. They're getting rid of professional reliance, which a lot of small businesses are involved in because, maybe there are, small engineering firms or whatnot, landscape firms that sign off on these things. They want to get rid of that and bring it all in-house. 40,000 private sector jobs were lost last year in British Columbia. The NDP haven't shed a tear over a single one of them because, none of them worked in small business. If you look at their cabinet, it's all party activists, labor activists, the odd reporter like Claire Trevina. No one who actually, that we can tell, ran a small business or has any idea as to what the actual cost on business is of all these different plans.
Do other NDP provinces have pro-business agendas? It seemed to me in Manitoba, for example, they did a lot for small business because of a lot of the people involved in government had been small business people.
Yeah, it's important to have, and look, take this as a note for the civic elections too. Try to find people who have run a business or been involved in small business because that is the engine of the economy. 90% of businesses in BC are small businesses. We need to be encouraging them. We need to be giving them the opportunity to succeed because first of all, they pay more taxes than individuals or residents. So, you want that tax base so you can afford things like hospitals and schools and roads. And you want them to succeed. No one wants to walk down the downtown of their community or into the shopping areas of the community and see, boarded up windows and out of business signs. That's a bad omen. That's a bad kind of situation for a community to be in. We want a thriving small business sector to continue to employ people.
Well, I think I've been seeing stories about that, and I commented to a friend as well. Walking around, I'm seeing so many boarded up storefronts right now. Are they being overtaxed? Expenses too high? What's going on there?
Yeah, some are being overtaxed. Some, maybe the tax isn't the straw that broke the back, but there's something else, some other red tape or a rent increase or whatever. 40,000 private sector jobs were lost last year in British Columbia. That is not an insignificant amount. That's 40,000 people, 40,000 families, 40,000 folks who relied on that income who have had to find it in other places. And a lot of that has come from small businesses who have not been able to kind of handle the change in government and the change in focus on what they should be doing.
We'll have more with Jordan Bateman right after the break.
Media recognition from Bloomberg, Reuters, recycling trade publications, patented process for 100% recovery of critical metals, including cobalt, lithium, nickel, manganese, aluminum. American Manganese is focused on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. American Manganese trades on the TSX Venture, AMY, the US, AMYZF, and Frankfurt 2AM. For more information, visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Don't miss out. Stay informed. Receive the HowStreet.com weekly recap with thought-provoking podcasts, radio, and articles delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage at HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Jordan Bateman. Jordan, is there anything the federal government should be doing right now to help independent and small business?
Get a deal done with Donald Trump. Free trade is one of those things that lots of people like to talk about philosophically or ideologically, but it is absolutely in this day and age, it's a must for a healthy economy. Canada is a relatively small, still resource-based economy. We need to be able to trade with other countries of the world, and certainly, being next door to one of the largest purchasers on Earth has been a big benefit to our small business community. So they need to grow up, quit wearing T-shirts taunting the president, quit making speeches taunting the president, find what it's going to take to get a deal. We're not saying cave in to President Trump and the U.S. government, but there's got to be a way to get a deal and get free trade rolling again.
Does Canada really need marketing boards to protect farmers? And are consumers getting a raw deal with the protectionism?
Yeah, I mean, this is the existential issue right now for a lot of people. We have not, a construction association, we've not done, in-depth research into, agricultural marketing boards. So I'm not sure I'm the best person to comment on it, except to say, generally we support free markets. We believe the free market sets the price for products, creates competition. We believe in that type of economy.
If you're concerned about hormones and so on, if U.S. product is brought into Canada, couldn't you just pass legislation saying it has to be hormone and antibiotic free? But when it comes to prices or tariff protection, forget about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you can regulate different products, and that's ask them to meet Canadian standards. That's not a problem. I think this is a little bit funnier an issue for those of us who live in the Fraser Valley, who often will run across the border and get gas and other products. And almost everyone I know who does that stops at Ed and Eileen's dairy on the other side of the border and picks up an ice cream and a jug of milk and a whack of cheese and comes back. So I do think that those of us who live close to the border here in the Lower Mainland have a different perspective on it than perhaps the farmer in Saskatchewan whose livelihood depends on this. So it's always worth remembering that, decisions like this may benefit one person, but it will hurt someone else, and you got to weigh out what's best for the country as a whole.
You have 13,000 farmers who may be holding up a free trade deal.
Yeah, I mean, look, the bottom line here is no one's holding up the free trade deal except Team Canada. I mean, the negotiators can make a deal. They can change systems. Free trade transcends a lot of these little issues. So, if, there's nothing holding Trudeau back from moving forward and doing something. So I wouldn't be so quick to pin the blame on the lobby group. I'd be, quicker to pin it on the politicians who are sitting at the negotiating table.
Jordan, if there was one message you could send to Team Canada, what would it be?
Quit poking the bear. Quit this nonsense about, social engineering through trade. Quit wearing T-shirts that say, keep calm and negotiate NAFTA. Quit going to public forums, ripping the president. When you're trying to negotiate with someone, you don't usually want to, kick the snot out of them in public and embarrass them and make it harder for them to say yes. When you're trying to get someone to yes, find a way to get along. So that would be my advice. Is this is too important an issue to act ideologically. Let's act pragmatically and let's just get a deal done.
Jordan, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Anytime.
My guest has been Jordan Bateman, Communications Director for the Independent Contractors and Business Association. His website, icba.ca. If you have any questions for Jordan or any of our other guests, you can send them to info@howstreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard. Thanks for listening.
Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. The Goddard Report is available online and mobile at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. The Goddard Report is a production of Howe Street Media Incorporated.